What's up, everyone? This is Dariusz Kalbarczyk, co-founder of MG Poland, JS Poland, AngularMaster.dev, and WorkshopFest.dev. Welcome to JavaScript Master Podcast. Today, we've got special guest from Tel Aviv, Israel, R&D Group Manager at Monday.com. Ladies and gentlemen, Chen Salomon. Hi Chen, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, thank you. Okay, so please introduce yourself and tell us what you do.
So I'm working today at Monday. Monday is a WorkOS platform, and today I'm a group manager, meaning I'm managing in few development teams. My team or my group is around the framework, the building blocks of the system, such as the login, authorization, billing, and so on.
Okay, that's interesting. So you work as an R&D Group Manager at Mondaycom. What is your working day like?
That's an excellent question. So as part of my role, I'm not only managing the team, but I'm also managing our new site in Warsaw, which I'm sure we'll talk about later. So my day-to-day is about creating the context for the team or the vision and building together how a team is going to be built or work in the next few months. Sharing context that we get from the higher management, sharing context that the team had to the R&D management, and of course, hiring and build the team towards the next years. I guess this is like most of the meetings that I have in my day-to-day.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds really interesting. Tell us about your flagship product.
So the Monday platform or the Monday WorkOS, we help team to outdo their best. So what do we mean by that is that, there is a lot of unstructured data that you have in your work day-to-day or processes that you want to manage. What we've built is in the platform is a way that you can just throw the data inside, create your workflow, add automations over it, add visualizations over it, and somehow understand the process better and optimize the way that you're working. We're working both with tech and non-tech company, which is challenging, but also creates a lot of interfaces that we're adding to the product that will enable us to work with both. We're working with small companies or even teams, and it goes through enterprises with thousands of users.
Okay, wow. It's a big project, yeah? So What are the challenges associated with working with such a large product?
So I feel we have few kind of challenges. One of them is the scale, of course. And I think like every other company that increases the scale can create some challenges regarding all the architecture. The Monday project or the Monday, the WorkOS is here in the last 8 or 9 even years. So it creates some that and creates some complexity, and you need to scale it to the new challenge, to the new volume of user, and it can be hard. Other than that, I feel that we grew a lot in terms of developers, and we'll talk a lot about it today in our podcast. And the number of developers go, and we need to somehow create and stay in the same speed as we had and develop a lot more features on an existing infrastructure, which creates also challenges. And I feel like the next one is, and it relates to both of them, is that we're creating a lot of features. We're adding a lot of features to the system and a lot of capabilities for groups or specific use case or to the platform. And it's really hard both for the developers and I guess also to the system, to maintain everything and to know, the effect of one feature on the others.
You have multiple types of scale challenges you are working on. Please tell us more about that, because it is very interesting working on such a big project with so many features and so many developers, as you said.
So I feel like I'll drill down to that a bit. What we call it here, the software plane. What do we mean by that is the number of features that are going with the number of developers that are going. So think about if in the past you had to communicate with, I don't know, like 5 other teams in this, in your project. So to communicate with everyone, you need to contain like, I don't know, like 10 connections to then, or maybe you can sit in the same room and just talk about it for an hour and everyone knows what everyone else are doing.
Exactly.
Think about what happens when you have 30 teams in your project. And even now with the COVID situation, not everyone are even in the same room. So it's not that easy to know what everyone are doing. So let's say that we have 2 teams that develop features that are in the same area of the system, but are not connected like in an API, for example. How do you maintain the level of knowledge that everyone needs to know in order to develop their feature in the fastest way, in an autonomous way, and not affect on the others? And this is, I guess, one of the hardest challenge for us in this kind of growth.
So how do you handle the scale in the software plan? Creating and need to know more and more features while onboarding more and more developers?
Yeah, that's a great question. I feel that, we have some recipe that we started with, because to be honest, no one, like this is the first assumption, no one can know everything. We can't have developers that know everything that goes around the system.
It's impossible.
So now it's impossible to know all the details around the entire system. So what do we need to know? What is the minimal thing that I need to know as a developer in Monday in order to do my work? So we divided it into 2. I have my team or my proximity area that I need to know in a very good level of details. And there are other teams that I need to know in a different level of details. And there are teams that doesn't really connect to my day-to-day, which I'm pretty sure that, I don't need to know even the specific features, but their vision, their goals, their big building blocks. So let's take, for example, I don't know, search features. It's a capability that we need to develop that the search team need to know Elasticsearch very well, need to know indexing and modeling of data, and I don't know, maybe index types, and build over it this product of search. And when I'm creating this new project, for example, the Monday Work Talks, I need to know that, okay, I have an indexing service that I can send data, and I have a search service which I can query. Or by indexing the data, I know that this data will be available for search through other search systems within Monday.
What are the guidelines architecture you are sharing with your developers to handle the developer scale? So
we call it a core and a playground. I'll try to explain it. I hope it will be understandable. So the core is what is my team are doing, and a team can have a multiple cores, but a core is like the baseline of a feature, the fundamentals of a feature. What do I need to know as the person that developed the feature? And the playground is the API, is the interface that I give others in order to either consume or extend this feature. I'll work it then through another example. We have our automation or automations or workflows automations mechanism in Monday. The core is the queuing mechanism, is the execution mechanism, retries, resource handling, and so on. And the playground is the interface that allows me as a developer to build a new recipe, a new automation. If I only want to have, I have to create a new trigger or to create when status change to done. If I only want to create this trigger, I don't need to know which queues are being used, either it's SQS or Kafka, or what is the retry policy that we have. I need to know only this interface in order to create the new automation. So by doing this kind of architecture or by working with those guidelines, it reduces the level that we need in order to develop new feature or to create a compound effect on our existing infrastructure.
Okay, so you talked about a core and playground, yeah? So how do you differentiate between microservices architecture and the method you showed?
Yeah, so I guess this is one of the things that it's still hard for us to understand or explain. So microservices are definitely an implementation for this core playground. So if I create a microservice, for example, a search microservice, to the example that I shared before, and the microservice serves an API that says, okay, you can index by ID or search by text. This is, of course, implementation of the core is the service itself. And the playground can be consumption of this API, but it can have also another implementation, such as packages, such as like an extents of recipes, such as I shared in the automations example.
How do you identify a good core and a good playground?
Yeah, so we had a lot of tests that we tried before in order to go through those. What is a good core? And let's explain a bit what a good core provides to the playground. A good core provides isolation. So I, as a developer in the playground, can't break the system, can't break the core. I should provide logging and security out of the box. So again, we want to reduce the level of work that needs to be done in the playground. So what we're doing in order to ensure that we've built a good core, so we have two kinds of tests. One of them is a hackathon. In a hackathon, what we're doing is we provide the code to everyone, provides the API, like the playground API, and said, okay, we want to build 1,000 automations in 3 days, or 1,000 recipes in 3 days. Okay, so we know we can't do it a one by one, and we know we can't work with developers to explain each step in the way. So if it works, and we created those number of recipes, it says that, okay, it was easy to consume, it worked well, and we understood what should be and what shouldn't be in the core. So if, for example, we see that in terms of these recipes, I don't know, 200 wrote a function that extracts something, okay, maybe this should be in the core. And then we reevaluate this core health. Of course, in a team, we have another level of metric that how healthy is my knowledge in the core. If I have only one developer that knows it, it's quite complex, to scale. But if the entire team knows everything about their core and about how to extend, how the playground works, it's amazing, and it allows the team to scale very healthy. We had another kind of test that we've done in the past, and it worked in our API that we exposed for external developers. We have our apps API that allows external developers to build application that works on the Monday work OS and being sold in our marketplace. So this was another kind of test that was even harder, because it's not, if it's internal in the company, it's a hackathon, so you can communicate directly. But when we've done this apps hackathon with external developers, so you're not sitting in the same room, you're not in the same Zoom, you're working in an asynchronous communication, which makes it even harder to explain the code. So the code should be very, very well defined.
Do you have any example from your system of something that didn't work well and you change it into this method to improve team speed?
Yeah. So yes, I feel that the search, we started with improving it. The search at first, we had a few issues. One of them is expertise in Elasticsearch. Each team that needed to create a new index or search need to have this Elasticsearch knowledge to create the index, to understand the right modeling, the index types. I'll give you a funny example that we had. We had one of these, one of an IDs type that was a long, and it was indexed as a long. And when you search by long in Elasticsearch, it's either greater than or equal or lower than. When you change it into keyword, it made our queries 10 times faster. But this is kind of a knowledge that needs to be shared within the entire team. So what we've done is we created someone that is Elasticsearch expert. And then after it, we added another level in his team, being responsible for the search product. So there is a new search API. we had multiple APIs that went through a microservice or through a service in our Ruby monolith. And we had to communicate with them, and there were different APIs and different indexes that were indexed differently. So we worked in order to unite them into one place. And then we have our search service. And everyone that wants to consume data from Elasticsearch, consume it through one API. And it helped us to increase velocity in terms of new search products and new product that needs index data.
Okay, so $1 million question. Are you looking for developers?
Of course. Yeah.
What kind of developers?
So we're opening our new site in Warsaw. To be honest, this is the first site that we're opening abroad in terms of developers in Monday. We're looking for both full stack developers and DevOps roles, and of course we're looking also for some leadership roles, team leads. I'll talk a bit about our technical stack in terms of the full stack.
Okay.
So we have a Ruby on Rails monolith, but we're extracting a lot of the logic into a Node.js microservices. Our client side is in React. And we have, of course, in the database, extensive usage in Redis, MySQL, Postgres, and so on.
Do you use some framework with Node.js?
We have Express, mostly, and we have some internal NPM packages that we're building in order to somehow standardize the work. As I said, and I guess it really relates to the challenge of the number of developers, of how you create this highly alignment. In terms of code should look about the same in different teams. And it's really hard to create such kind of alignment. And we're doing it with both packages and standards and best practices that we're sharing with the teams.
Can developers work remotely with Mondaycom?
Right now, we're flexible, but we really hope to go back to somehow a hybrid model. That, like, the logic behind it is we believe that we have hard problems. And in order to solve those hard problems best, we felt that for us, what works is to sit together in the same room and talk about it. And we really appreciate the time in the office. And we love to sit together both socially and professionally. And we felt that it made everyone better. So we'll work in a hybrid model in the future. After, of course, the COVID situation will go a bit down, and we'll allow it, and everyone will feel comfortable with coming back to the office.
Yeah. So you have two offices now, in Tel Aviv and in Warsaw, as I could understand, yeah?
Yeah, for developers, yes.
For developers, yeah, of course.
Yeah. The Warsaw office is still in the making. We have our first few developers, and we're looking to hire more.
Okay. Yeah, that's great. That's great news. Okay, so what makes Monday.com different from others employees?
I feel that we have our values that makes us special. I'm not sure if special, but a good place to work in. And I felt that the first value is transparency. Transparency really means a lot to us in terms of constant feedbacks, in terms of know what's going on. I'll give an example. Before we were a public company, we had a dashboard that everyone came to the office and saw the financial status. It was that open for everyone. There were no secrets around it. Even today, we work a lot on finding a way to share data with our employees in a way that both serve them well in terms of knowing what's happening in the company and what's the status, and both won't expose them into dangerous stuff when knowing too much in a public company. But I know that this is one of the values that is in the core of the Monday ecosystem, and especially it goes both to our product and the company. And I feel that the second one is impact, and we're working towards an impact. And I know it doesn't mean a lot when you're saying that, but impact for us is a real value to real users. And what do I mean by that? It's not about the number of code lines that we're writing or the number of features we're releasing, unless user actually got it and provided a good feedback and found it useful. And I feel this kind of a changed the mindset of a developer a lot of times into working on something meaningful to the end user and not just about making things just for we call it writing to the drawer. Like you're not writing code just for the sake of writing code. You're writing it for a cause that will help the user on the other end to do his work better. And I feel that those are the two values that really means a lot, especially to me.
How you develop a feature?
I'll share from start. We have the initiation, and the most of the initiation comes from the team. That each team in Monday have a land that they're responsible for in the product. So what we're doing is the team come up with an opportunity to solve, and this relates to the impact. We're coming with the opportunity and not always with the solution. The teams comes up after they have the opportunity and validates that, okay, this is something that will be useful for the user. We think for a solution. Then a developer takes it end to end with the product and with the designer. Then you're not getting like a scoped feature and a task just to code. You're getting an opportunity that you need to solve and like a real problem for a user that you need to solve, and you're taking it end to end. So most of our developers, we do try to have a full stack, but there are of course some expertise that, features that needs mostly backend. And we have developers that run through backend mostly, also client side. We do try in our client side. We have, as I said, in React, we try and go in the next year into a micro frontends kind of architecture to reduce this same complexity of having all the code and having all the developers working together on the same code base. So we're going to split it in some ways. But I feel that, and think maybe it's something special that relates to impact, but the developers are really responsible end to end. Your job doesn't end when you deploy the code in production. It ends when the user is happy with it and you actually solve the problem that you said you're going to solve in this opportunity.
Yeah, exactly. How often do you release? What is your release cycle?
Like few times a day.
Okay.
I'll take it from another perspective. So there are a lot of responsibilities on the developer here. You're responsible to the business issue. You are responsible for the code, for the quality of the feature. So there is a lot of ownership for you as a developer. And when you say something is ready, it can go to production. So we of course have A/B test mechanism and rollout deployment and automated tests. But you as a developer are like and PR and code reviews and the PR. But you're responsible for the feature and for this quality, so you can deploy it as you wish. In order to ease some of it, so you won't have a lot of deploys per day, we're doing it in a train that runs every hour. But the idea, at least in the monolith, in the microservice, you can just deploy whenever you want. But the idea is that you as a developer have the decision, okay, this feature is ready for production. I'm good with it. It can go up.
The last technical question is, how do you deal with legacy code?
A painful question. So there is, of course, legacy code. As I said, we have the monolith in Ruby. And to be honest, I feel that the monolith will be with us for a long time. What we do want to reduce the complexity. So we're extracting a lot of the logic outside of it. So we really hope that in the next year, we won't develop new features inside the monolith, but we'll extract them outside into microservices or micro frontends that will hold the relevant logic. I'll give an example of something that we're doing in my group. It's the authorization part. We're extracting all these permissions related features into a microservice. It's the heart of the system, because by the end of the day, when you work in a company, you need to have access to a lot of places. And on the other hand, we have an admin that wants to somehow limit or control who has access where. And we have, of course, the security teams that wants to also see and control and govern what's happened. So what we're trying is to extract all this logic outside and have developers, know that they won't need to worry about this authorization part. That if a user entered this code line or this function, he has the permissions to go here. Or you can ask a different service, can he do this and that? So this is kind of like how we're working with the monolith going forward, to extract the logic into a services that, will serve other teams.
Okay, well said. So, I have few non-technical questions, and my favorite is, what kind of person is Chen? How do you see yourself?
So first of all, as my role, I'm seeing myself as engineering manager. I'm no longer coding for my living. I started to code 20 years ago when I was 13. I loved it. And this is what really got me this, this pushing forward and this need to be a builder. And for me, there are a lot of moments that I really felt like I'm building something big. In my previous role, I worked as a VP of R&D in a company called Exco, which I was their first employee. And this is where I transformed from someone that's code for his life and building by his own to someone that can actually help others to build something that is even bigger. And I feel that this is part of my mission here as engineering manager, is to help others outdo their best and both create a product that is bigger than what I could have built by my own. And this is for me like the essence of being a builder. Other than that, I really love to be with my family. I have three little kids, and I really love to be with them, play with them, see them grow. I know it relates a lot, but it's always exciting to see new stuff around. Yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's amazing. So, do you have, regarding your kids, of course, and the work, do you have some hints for us regarding self-organization?
How to be self-organized? I feel that I'm not the most organized, and
everybody says.
Yeah, it took me some time, to say it clearly. And I feel that the things that do help me to somehow stay focused is a lot of I have my most important task. I'm writing them aside, and I have them in front of me the entire day. And I have this spirit of getting things done. I can't have I have even a zero inbox policy. I can't see things that still open, so I really feel obligated to close them. So I have the most important in front of me, and I take from time to time a task and close it. But I'm not think I'm that methodological in terms of that. And, I would really be afraid to see someone else using my method in trying to be organized. I will feel responsible for that.
Okay. Do you have any favorite hobbies?
I love to watch sports. So mostly American, American football or basketball. Other than that, listening a lot to podcasts, technical managerial podcasts, and I'm reading a lot of books, almost a book in a week.
Oh, wow.
Most of them around the management, team management, team motivations, personal motivation, personal growth. This is the things that I'm most interested in.
What's your work-life balance? Do you have any hints for us?
I got to the understanding that work-life balance have two parts for me. First of all is the sense of control. Am I controlling my schedule? Am I controlling when I'm stopping work? Especially now in the COVID situation when a lot of people working from home, it's hard to really put the border between when I'm working and when I'm just at home. So for me, the first is the rule that I can control my time. And this is the feeling that I have right now, that if I need to be with my kids every day at 4, I can do it. And if I need to pick them up from the kindergarten, I can do it. So this is the first thing. The second thing for me is the sense of purpose. Am I feeling that I'm doing something good, something that's even bigger than me? And I feel that for me, it creates a lot of drive in order to do more. And if I have this drive and I can control when I'm pushing forward or when I'm taking a step back, for me, this balance is the exact, definition for me of a work-life balance. And I think this is like a good drill to do, like everyone for himself, like to find, okay, I have control on those parts. I can control when a meeting starts and then I can control when like stopping for lunch, even for those small stuff. And I can control when I'm going to be with my family or doing my hobbies. And the other part is the purpose, like, am I doing something that feels to me, that drives me every day to come to work? This is what works for me, at least.
Can you recommend podcast or book for our listeners?
Yeah. I think for managers, for engineering manager, I really like to recommend The Manager's Path. I feel it's a book that is something between a reading book and a guideline and a cookbook that really helps us to understand like the first day of management. If someone prefers a novel, then I think both the Phoenix Project and the Unicorn Project are both amazing to understand like the fundamentals of agile working and the fundamentals of how to solve bottlenecks or to really identify bottlenecks. I think that those 3 books are just amazing for start, and I'll be happy to recommend them more if someone wants.
Okay, so thank you so much, Chen. It was a great discussion. You provide us a lot of great, valuable information. So thank you so much.
Thanks for having me, and hope that next time we'll do it face to face.
Exactly. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a great day.